It's not that deep. And what's worse, it's not that interesting. Hey, it's Em. So, out of a sense of curiosity or possibly self-loathing, my husband and I went to see Megalopolis yesterday. We were two of the three people in the cinema in that particular theater. Yeah, and it wasn't even, they had moved it to one of the smaller screens. You know, it's about to exit theaters, almost certainly. The problem with Megalopolis, the fundamental problem, is that it's not bad, it's not good, it's just there. It is so bland, and so I sat there completely indifferent to it. It made me feel nothing. And isn't that what they say the opposite of hate is? I mean, the opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference, right? Because if this movie had made me feel something, even if it was irritation, that would have had impact. But this had nothing. So, for those who don't know, this movie, it's subtitled A Fable. And there's a lot of kind of ancient Roman history going on, and there's a lot of Shakespeare going on, and I love both those things. I'm a Shakespeare performer and teacher, and I minored in classical history, like Roman history, in college. So this should have been like the sweet spot. And I can absolutely, see some of what I think the point was. Like, not the point of the story. It's not that deep. This is not like, I'm confused, I don't understand it. No, it's none of that. That's not the problem. Like, and some of the visuals, people are like, oh, it looks really bad, but I could see, maybe as a film student, I could see kind of what he was going for. But the problem was that this story is not interesting, and these characters are not interesting. Everything is very mushy, everything is very broad strokes, and because of that, we cannot identify with anybody in this movie. Like, because they're all so bland. They have no sharp lines, nothing interesting about them. Nothing interesting is going on. Everybody delivers their lines in kind of the same way. The characterization is just not there. And you could say, oh, well, they're archetypes, but even archetypes are interesting because then they, again, would be very clearly drawn. That's not this. This is not that. This is just so boring. So boring. There's just like, I didn't care. I didn't care. I felt nothing. And that's just like the worst possible thing for a movie. Like, so the plot, yeah, sure. Adam Driver plays Caesar in New Rome, which is very obviously New York. I mean, you start with a picture of like the Chrysler building or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay. And like, they show us Wall Street, they show us it's New York. They're calling it New Rome now. Again, as an allegory, as a fable, whatever you want to call it. It's like, okay, yes. I mean, and as goes New York, so goes the nation. Whatever. I did like the statues when they were like moving, justice collapsing, laws, tablets being broken. Okay, anyway, but besides that, Caesar is a design authority architect, and he has a vision for New Rome that the mayor, Cicero, is his political rival. Well, I mean, it's not like Caesar wants to be the mayor, but like he wants to keep things as they are, and it's very clearly like, oh, people in power want to keep things the way they are because it serves them the system serves them as it stands. And visionaries can be called genius, but very few people can actually see what they see. And so when Julia is able to, kind of see what, but she sees that he can stop time, and, then he's like, oh, you're special too. Yes, okay. And, the greater world is not ever going to see it, and geniuses create enemies. I feel like Coppola's kind of, he thinks he's like the Caesar character. Like, he's like, I have vision, and but nobody wants to participate in that because it's too big a risk, or whatever. The problem being, you could have, and honestly, again, this is nothing new. This message is not revolutionary, but like, if you're going to have a movie with a message, the movie better damn well be interesting enough for people to buy in. Ideally, it's so interesting that the message doesn't like occur to them until after, instead of being beat over the head with it. But, this movie with its voiceover, because, just in case you're not getting it, let me explain. Sure, you could say, well, Greek chorus kind of thing going on there, whatever. Like, but then there's also title cards. And if you're going to have like a chariot racing scene, give me a good chariot racing scene. Don't give me like 4 minutes of some chick singing while sitting on like a crescent-shaped swing. I don't care. I don't need her whole little song. Every scene in this went about 2 minutes too long. Like, and this is the downside of not having, I don't know, a studio giving you notes and telling you to cut stuff, I guess. Because like, it needed a good edit. And then, okay, so here's the thing. This is all based on the first hour or so of the movie, because my husband insisted we needed to go see this. I was like, I can wait till it's streaming. But he wanted to see it on the big screen, and we knew this was going to be the last weekend this movie was in theaters, because, the 2 weeks were going to be up. So if you don't understand that, it has to do with the way distribution contracts are done. You have to promise to have the movie on screens for at least 2 weeks, and then you can boot it for other stuff if it's not making money. And this movie is not making money. But, so we, my husband insisted, we went. I was prepared to sit through it, but just after, like, the sex tape thing, my husband leans over and goes, "You ready to go?" And I was like, I was, I could, because I truly was indifferent. I was like, I could sit here and see where this goes, I guess. I don't care. Like, I don't even care. I'm not even curious about the dead wife or the way he seems to be crossing dimensions. I don't know. Or is he hallucinating? But I felt like it was more like, because he could stop time, he could also maybe see different planes of existence or something. Whatever. I heard that part wasn't even, like, explained really. And so, sure. But yeah, so, I was just like, yeah, I guess. So we ended up leaving and going to dinner and having drinks. And that was probably more fun than another hour or so of that movie would have been. So, yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good, and it wasn't even bad. You know what I mean? Like, if something's bad, at least you, again, feel something for it. But this was not. This was neither of those things. This was a lot of, like, close-ups when, like, wide shots would, like, I wanted to feel the grandeur even of New Rome, since, like, that's kind of the bone of contention. Like, New Rome should have been its, a character in its own right. But because we spend so much time just on people's faces, you don't even really get that sense. And I didn't like the film backgrounds and stuff. That didn't bother me, because, again, I felt like that was a stylistic choice that was done on purpose. And I was like, I kind of see, going back to these old epics, we're going back to these, kind of old school things. And so that I kind of was like, okay, yeah, sure. you know, the Shakespeare, what institution would you keep marriage? Well, that's very, you know, that's from Hamlet again. It's, you know, I mean, he does the whole Hamlet soliloquy, right? At that one point. I will say, the one thing I liked about this movie was the wardrobe. I feel like the wardrobe deserves some awards attention, if not a win, because the costuming, the hair and the costuming for this, pretty good. I mean, if you're taking Rome and you're like, okay, let's take Rome and project it into, like, let's pretend Roman stuff is back in style but with a new modern twist or whatever, I felt like this hit the mark as far as costume and hair and stuff goes. Well, women's hair. Men's hair, I don't know what was going on there, but but yeah, the acting, I mean, I didn't see the script, but it's just, again, not great. The scene between Caesar and Julia in Caesar's office, where they're literally, I was like, this just feels like a bad stage play now. She's like, you know, entitled, you know, and you're just like, this is so, it was cringe, and not even like, but not even in a way where, again, I felt anything except just like mild irritation that, like, I was like, this isn't good. I felt like she did it like 3 or 4 times, entitled, like as if she assumed that they were going to pick one and edit that one in, and they just left them all in. I don't know, but there was like no chemistry either between any character. Shia LaBeouf was kind of having fun, I guess. I mean, he seemed to be. That's kind of like, I don't know, but like, just every character was just so, there was no personality. I mean, I just keep coming back to the fact that, yeah, there was just no one to attach to, identify with. Like, you're just kind of like watching it and not feeling anything, and that's a bad movie. And not even bad in a way that, you know, but just like, it's nothing. It's just nothing. It's a lot of time to spend for nothing. It's a lot of money to spend for nothing. I don't know. What a disappointment, right? But anyway, that was my take on Megalopolis. On what I saw of it, like the first hour and 15 minutes, I think, like, you know, about half the movie, right? And, yeah, I don't know. I didn't, like, go in thinking I was going to be some kind of exception, that I was going to like it when nobody else had. That was not it. It was more like I said, like a curiosity, maybe like, is it as bad as people say? Well, no, because it's not bad in a way that had any impact. It was, it's just nothing. And that's worse. All right, well, anyway, if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, I don't know when the next time I'm going to the cinema might be. I really want to see Saturday Night, but I don't know if I need to see that on the big screen. I want to see The Wild Robot, but God, there were so many little kids at the cinema yesterday. They were all going to see Wild Robot. I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to see that in a cinema full of little kids. So I might wait for that as well. Yeah, what else is coming out that looks? Oh, Mickey 17. Definitely gonna see that. But yeah, what are you looking forward to? What movies have I not seen that? Well, you don't know what I haven't seen, but hey, if there's a movie you want to recommend to me, put it in the comments. And if you have other thoughts about Megalopolis, leave those in the comments as well. And until next time, take care.